When your daughter's learning how to drive and says,
But, can I drive?
you say,
Híjole. Here we go.
but what you should say is something that helps protect your ride.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
And that's where State Farm comes in, to help you choose the coverage you need, so you can relax until you hear,
Can we pick up my boyfriend?
Wait, what?
like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. State Farm, Bloomington, Illinois.
Welcome and thank you for tuning in to Cryptids, Creeps, and Conspiracy. The following content may involve explicit language and materials, so listener discretion is advised.
Hey everyone, welcome back. And again, we have Miss Liz, although it's weird because I can't see you. It's weird to me, but I think you've been on enough that we don't really have to go through there. But anyway, ouch, was that a ghost? Just so everybody knows. It'll again be in the description and everything. So thank you, Melissa, for hopping on with me.
Thank you for having me on.
And we're kind of narrowing it down. I think we're going to go ahead and go a little dark. I think we're going to go with option 2 that I mentioned. This week, we're going to get a bit off course. I've been doing that a lot lately, going into things that we don't normally do. But we have a real flesh and bone monster with actual human lineage here. Now, this high society and sinister sister was born August 7th of 1560 and died August 21st of 1614. But during this surprisingly long life for the time, she made one hell of a name for herself. And this wicked woman is none other than Elizabeth Bathory, aka the Blood Countess. So I know a lot of people know of her, and to me, it's still fascinating. Now, granted, I still am very wishy-washy. Take it with a grain of salt or whatever. Because some of the stuff I have a hard time believing went to that extreme. So I'm borderline on how severe it really was and how much of it was just embellished. But
I feel like
either
most
way,
people now know of her just because of the American Horror Story. Like the younger kids.
which was she in that one? Which one was that?
Kathy Bates played her in, was it the Coven one?
Oh, I haven't seen that one.
Oh, so I just spoiled it for you. I'm just kidding.
Oh, I watched the one with the murder house, but then I just couldn't. Everybody said I would really like the Coven one, but I haven't
That was
even
a
tried it.
good
Who
season.
took that out of the outlet? Sorry, my dog's trying to lick the power outlet. Like sticking a fork in it. He's literally a toddler. But I did see another thing too. It looked like there was another name that she went by, Elizabeth. Is that right? Erzebet. I have no idea how to pronounce it.
Maybe it's like a nickname for Elizabeth?
Maybe it's weird, but yeah, who knows? But she was actually born in like the most elite family as a Hungarian countess. So she is like bougie as hell.
Oh, so maybe that was Elizabeth in Hungarian.
Maybe. Okay, so this is why we have you on, because you come up with awesome stuff that I don't think of. And so what's weird is that her family sounds like a fairy tale, I guess, like a Brothers Grimm fairy tale, not a real one. But her whole family controlled Transylvania, which I found ironic. And her uncle, oh my gosh, I almost called him Stephen, was the king of Poland.
What?
So like they've got like high society status. This is not a rags to riches. This is you are born with, you got a silver spoon up your ass and in your mouth.
And Dracula is your uncle.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, this is convenient. But even though Elizabeth was born into this lavish lifestyle, she suffered from a multitude of severe health issues. one of which was epilepsy, which no doubt probably inspired the rumors of curses and devilries that were going to come up in her adulthood. So we all know that back then, if you were weird at all, you were basically possessed or a witch. Anything. And this poor girl was born epileptic. So she's just screwed.
Yeah.
Thank God that she had royalty. Otherwise, who knows what would have happened to her.
Seriously.
And we all know mental health issues are enough to, again, you get exiled. They used to build like literal, okay, princess locked in a castle. Oh, hey, did you see that?
No, I didn't. I'm sorry.
My K2 meter went off when I said that.
Oh. Elizabeth,
So-
you here? Oh, what is it? As a brother?
Oh, I didn't turn my app on. Hold on.
What's her name?
That's what the problem is.
Elizabeth?
First bit.
Is that you?
Yeah. Who? Elizabeth. God, I would just shit if that thing went off. I've got a
Is that
murderer in my
yes?
house. All right, so your app is on. All right, we are good to go on the app. All right, so now we're going there. Well, we turn down a little bit. I'll just read them off if we get anything. But anywho, what I was saying, princesses, and there's always, they're locked away in the tallest room, in the tallest tower, on the whatever. That was a real thing. They would intentionally build these rooms, and this happened all the way up. It was happening in the 1950s. Bring it to me. But people would lock the kid if they were deformed or mentally challenged or whatever, had behavioral issues. They would literally lock them in a room and essentially just slide food in a slot, like prisoner.
Crazy is that?
Yeah,
Yeah,
there was a movie that I thought came out maybe a couple years ago, and it was about that. I can't remember what they're called. There's a certain name for the room. I just can't think of it right now.
Yeah, I'm drawing a blank too. I know what you're talking about because when I was
Yeah.
looking into, what is it, Glams or Glamis Castle? I always say it wrong. I think it's pronounced Glams. It's that monster that they locked away in that tight room, and the only thing they'd let him walk on the top of the tower so
Mhm.
nobody could see him, and that
It's
was it.
like Quasimodo.
Yeah. Just get him out of sight. They'd not embarrass the family, which is so sick, but that's like what the social norm was back then.
It says, yeah. He said, it's so sick. And it goes, yeah. It's preach it. One reason possibly for her having so many health issues is her parents were first cousins.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Tragedy. And I know sometimes if you go so far, even though it's still society, just everything is wrong, but genetically speaking, once you get to what is it, second or third cousin, then you have less risk of any type of mutation, but you can't go cousin.
I'm not
there you go.
really sure. And even if their cousin marrying, I'm sure they weren't the first. Their parents were probably something else.
Yep.
As you look further back.
That's what I'm thinking too. But that's probably what caused it. Although if she's just epileptic, but she didn't have any like physical deformities, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
There's usually a lot worse things when it comes to that. But again, Elizabeth had these problems, and she was actually given a wide range of crackpot cures, quote unquote.
Oh, I love these.
Convenient, yes, convenient cure. Thank you.
I can't wait to hear these. I love the old timey cures. They're the best.
Yeah, so giving all these weird cures to her, though, added just fuel to the fire regarding this ludicrous lifestyle that she was known for. So not only were people having all these rumors about her and starting all this stuff, but then they were trying all these experimental things back in the day, which were already crazy. And it just made her seem more weird, more scary, more creepy, because she was willing to try anything to get better. Which is sad, but is what it is. One of these was that she would use blood of a healthy person and rub it on her lips like some kind of like sadistic chapstick. It doesn't say how much. Maybe it was just like prick the finger. Who knows? Maybe it's in a bowl. And she would just rub it on her lips. Not really sure what that would do, but that's what she did. And then another one that was really weird that they gave her for her mental and behavioral stuff. Now, granted, there was an added perk, right, of youthful beauty was to soak in a bathtub filled with the blood of young virgins. That one, on the other hand, would probably require a lot more blood, and I guarantee it was not a finger prick.
Yeah, no, definitely. I'm trying to think how much was she taking a little bit from each or fully draining people?
Not sure. I would assume draining people once we get into it. I would assume. That's probably the
Alright.
safest bet. A crazy twist that added, again, more fuel in the dark. Yes, we're in the dark. Thank you. Was the rumors start really going because she was distantly related to Vlad the Impaler.
Ooh.
So this bitch, her family runs Transylvania and a big place of Poland.
And she's
putting
rubbing
blood
blood all over her
she's
lip.
soaking in a bathtub of blood, and Vlad the Impaler is related.
Uncle Vlad.
Yeah, good old Uncle. Oh yeah, we're gonna note to self, put that in the title, Uncle Vlad.
I didn't know this about him. We recently did him on my podcast. Mike covered him. And I guess when he had all the dead bodies on the beach, he used to dip bread and toast in them while they were still alive and eat it. So maybe the blood eating was a family tradition?
Interesting, and I don't know how distant the relation was either. It just said related. Stupid.
Okay.
Sorry, I don't know the answer. Man, somebody's getting a little sassy. Why don't you tell me then? How far away were they? Now, and that's the thing too. It says that epileptic Vlad the Impaler is related to her. She's born in royalty, which means no rules, no punishment. She is surrounded, plausible, thank you. She is surrounded by violence since birth. In those days, it was conquer or be conquered.
Yep.
And the only way to conquer and protect yourself is to snuff them out because it's the only way to guarantee they won't come back. So she witnessed a riot that resulted in, disclaimer, sexual assault and hanging of her two sisters.
Oh my gosh.
The murderer was then captured and she watched him be put on a hot iron throne and burned to death. Surrounded by violence, she watches her sisters be assaulted. And I don't think, I just said assaulted. And then they hung them. Monsters, thank you. So they assault them, they hang them, and she's witnessing the whole thing. Granted, it's just, why did they not, if it was a family thing and they were trying to prove something, why not get her too? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, that is strange, but you said it was a riot. Maybe they couldn't get her or didn't want her. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Her.
That doll at the bottom of your screen just moved.
What?
Unless it was the camera, that blue one.
This one?
Yeah.
That's my family one. That's been in our family for a long time. I
I'm
don't
just
know if I
saying, just check that spot.
Okay, yeah, we'll definitely just. It's his friend.
Oh, good. I'm glad it's friendly.
Here.
I'm so fascinated in like the old timey era, but it was so much more gruesome, and I'm sure the smells were horrific everywhere.
Oh, yeah, because nobody cleaned anything, right?
Yeah, and the diseases, like anything could get you killed. You had a paper cut, you could die.
One sniffle and you're out.
Yeah, pretty much.
Rosary beads.
Stop it. I just had to watch The Omen for this podcast I'm on, and I'm so freaked out by that. Those are the only movies that totally get me. I like religious movies.
I can't do
hate
it.
that she just said that.
Yeah, I'm like, I can't.
Oh, they're the
Okay.
worst. They're the only, I can watch any of the horror movies. They don't faze me. They're funny. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But religious ones, they do something to me. I don't like it.
I do it. So it's me too. I think for those of us that are sensitive and have experienced stuff, so we know that stuff is real. And I think that's part of why I can't watch it because one, you can feel what's in the movie, regardless of what it is. You pick up on that. But the fact that if you've seen stuff, you know that it's really it's out there. So then watching these things and seeing how bad it can get,
Ugh.
it's creepy. All right, we're tired. I know I'm tired too. Okay, now, okay, here we go. She was also because she was bougie and all of this stuff. She had a lot of opportunities that women at the time just didn't get. Like they sent her to get like the best education that they could even find. Inmate. She could fluently speak Hungarian, Greek, Slavic, German, and Latin. Like she was
Wow.
educated. This isn't somebody who's like sling blade style, not knowing what's happening. She is, even though she's got epilepsy, she is brilliant. And that's just, to me, that's even scarier because she knows exactly what she's doing.
Yeah, and a lot of her victims probably couldn't even read or write one language.
Aside from the high society education and romanticized royal upbringing, she was actually exposed to horrifying reality that just, like I said earlier, it kept the family in control. The story goes that she was so accustomed to violence that she eventually found humor in watching this. Like people would be hung and beat to death and lit on fire, and she just thought it was hilarious. Like it became a game, I guess. It was just entertainment to her, which is
But I feel like it was to a lot of
me.
people back then. Think about it. People used to go to see public hangings as entertainment.
Now, I would totally do that. I think we should bring back public. I'm a horrible person.
But it's just because she was so desensitized. But I get she's like beyond. She's super evil. But I wonder at the time period, was everybody like that? That was their entertainment? That was their true crime podcast listening to?
Well, and think about it too. This goes back way farther. We're talking Rome. They would throw random stuff into a arena and just watch
Yep.
whatever. Animals killing animals, people and animals. Like the gladiator era. Like it just
Mhm.
back then there was nothing else to entertain you. So when you are so accustomed to the violence, it's okay, this is a horrible thing, but for me, when people die, aside from all of the weird stuff that I can do, but just in general, when I hear that somebody that I know dies, I don't respond initially. Like there's just nothing because so many people have died on me that it's like I'm used to it. Like I don't have that response normal people have.
Yep.
And if you're raised, think about it, you're raised, it's instead of, oh, dad's gonna take me to the ball park and we're gonna have hot dogs and watch baseball. And it was dad's taking me to watch the hang in or we're watching this. And it just makes it so normal
Mhm.
that I don't think it really bothered anybody. People would bet on it. It was just all kinds of crazy stuff.
Isn't that bizarre how desensitized they can get to it by being exposed to it over and over again?
Also, too, think about it. If you have people that are into true crime and after so long, you emotionally can be like, oh, I feel for this person. Oh, I wish it was not like this. There's that empathy there. But it's like watching forensic files and they show like a dead body on the screen and you just don't respond. You know what I mean? It's just, you're so used to it by then that it's just part of what you do.
Yeah, and it's
So-
probably the unknown too, because that's what draws me to true crime is I don't understand how people's mind work like that. So these people could have been there not understanding life and death, like what happens after death, like we still don't to this day,
Mhm.
but something like abstract that's fascinating.
Yes. And two, when you watch other people, even if they're fighting or whatever is going, I just got really big cold chills like everywhere and a little
Ugh.
dizzy. Okay, hold on.
I'm gonna
Okay,
turn the
people are
light on
right.
in the room I'm in.
That was just weird. Oh, when these things are happening, there's that we can't stay. Okay, then goodbye.
Stop it. Stop it.
Okay.
Natasha, I don't want to record with you anymore.
What the fuck? Just okay.
Stop. Oh,
We're back.
oh my gosh.
Oh wait,
I hate this.
hold on. My mic turned. Everything turned off.
No, it just said we can't stay. I don't like that.
Like nothing is. Okay, are we good? Can you hear me? Let me check
Yeah.
my mic.
The whole time it said your meeting's being recorded.
I just got really dizzy again.
That's
Okay.
so gross. You got
Down
a cold
there.
chill. It said we can't stay. It shut everything off.
Yes.
I got like these weird shadows in the room I'm in, and I'm in my son's room. I need to just. Oh,
Okay, so for those of you who that are not looking at the video right now, go fucking get on the Patreon feed and subscribe.
I hate everything that
Because
just happened.
literally Spirit Box is like, we can't stay. And all of my shit turned off. My mic, all of my recording equipment just stopped. My lights turned off.
Ugh.
Now my phones aren't charging even though they're plugged in. I don't know what's happening. Okay, so we got at least that going. All right, mic is on. We're good. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, so that's fun. Okay, and it just opened the list of words without me touching it. So we have fell, tired, inmate, me, give it to me,
You turn
we
this light
can't
on.
stay. And apparently, while the power and everything was shut off, we got not down there.
Not down there. I hate everything when I record with you. Everything gets creepy. Yeah, thank you.
I'm just like, I'm turning all the lights off. I'm like, what the hell just happened?
I'll tell you after. It's just
Yeah.
her spirit box is doing all this
Sure.
weird stuff.
When you had
It's with me all the time. There's always weird stuff happens. I hate it.
they like you. Maybe.
Please,
But yeah, when we recorded with both of you, we were in the house and all of our power went out.
I remember that with me and Leanne.
Portal.
Yep. Stop
That's when
it.
we had the veggie man.
No portal, nothing. Stop.
Aw, did I get a message? Or I'll probably be getting a message. Okay, sorry, continuing. Before we get too far into the events that happened, we want to kind of take a look at the psychology, right? Because I like to look at psychology. So this
Mhm.
notorious woman here, the first term that comes to mind is antisocial personality disorder, or what a lot of people know as a sociopath, right? For those of you who don't know, the condition is most commonly defined by the sufferer's lack of feelings, absent regard for right and wrong, and ignorance of the rights of others. Or they just don't give a shit about other people's rights. Now, are not always violent, but they do not hesitate to use violence if they need to get what they want. I think I'm a sociopath. Oops. Now, many sociopaths have frequent and dramatic outbursts and virtually like no self-control. If they want something, they get it. There is no thinking. It's I want, boom, I go after it. Again, I might have a problem.
But she also was raised with the means, and I'm sure her whole life she was just told, you want it, you can have it.
Yep.
Like just feeding into it.
Yeah, it's just it just keeps stacking and stacking. You know what's weird? They said they couldn't stay, shut off all my power, and now I'm getting nothing. It's been quiet this whole time. It sounded like they were with us, but they usually love podcast time, and I don't know what's going on. They just ditched me or something. I don't know.
They can't stay. They have stuff to do.
Gotta go. I'm busy. Sociopaths form attachment to like-minded people and tend to enjoy their company, which later on will make more sense. And some sociopaths are so bad, they wander into the purview of a psychopath, which are said to be born and not created by events and even have a different brain structure than an average person. So if you get like a CT scan, a psychopath's brain is actually physically different than an average person's brain, which is a little weird. There's a specific abnormality, and it is that there's an underdeveloped prefrontal cortex, which regulates your emotions and impulse control, which then causes you to be impulsive, not care. You don't feel emotions. Elizabeth's type of epilepsy typically affects the same portion of the brain that is damaged. Devil. That's great. But the same area that is physically different in psychopaths is the same area of the brain that her epilepsy was affecting. So she was set up for failure to start with. Hurtful. Sorry.
I'm curious how they got that information on her back then.
I think they look at how she acted during her epileptic episodes, and they can compare it now to other people that have different types. They can be like, this is the type. And
So it's a
because they are
behavioral
responding,
comparison, not a
it was
medical.
obvious.
Oh, sorry.
They're
So
like,
it's like a behavioral comparison, not like a medical, like a CT scan comparison that they're doing.
yeah, it'd be something where she was displaying some regret. Can you try what? Look up, please turn my lights off again.
Do not turn off my lights.
I'm following. Yeah.
No, stop.
Maybe they're just following the story. We're following the story.
Okay.
Now, it wasn't just nature that could have contributed what was coming. Elizabeth would sit and watch the savage beatings that were regularly given to the servants in the castle. Like, she'd just, all right, I'm watching, like, bowl of popcorn or whatever, and just hanging out.
Sicko.
She watches these beatings, and then one specific encounter states that she busted out laughing while she watched a man who was caught stealing from somebody, like a store, I guess like a marketplace or whatever. And they sewed him into the body of a horse. So questions.
What the fuck?
Was the horse dead? If so, how long was the horse? Are you recording? Yes, we're recording. Was the horse dead? If so, how long was it dead? Did they gut it before they shoved him in? Why would you shove him in? And how long was he in there? Did they just leave him in there? Was
So
it like
he
a
was
public
sewn
punishment thing?
on the inside or to the outside of the horse?
Huh?
He was sewn to the side of the horse or inside? Like they cut him open and put
Sewn
him in?
inside. Shoved him in the belly and sewed it shut. Like a really fucked up hot pocket.
Stop it.
I am so awful. It's all I could think of.
Oh.
Yeah.
I hope the horse was dead
I want you to go.
because he
Where are we
didn't do
going?
anything.
It was rumored that her family actually trained her to be excessively cruel. They taught her witchcraft and they exposed her to Satanism. It didn't take long for people to notice that Elizabeth was not at all offended by violence that was ever happening. Like, she was just never bothered by any of it. You could have just drop her in the middle of a battle and she'd just be like, okay, like with her bowl of popcorn. We have Uncle Vlad and the bowl of popcorn.
Oh
And
my gosh.
yeah, so this is so creepy. At 11 years old, she was known for her beauty.
Ew.
But as creepy as it sounds, it was a different time, so that was normal back then.
That's so gross.
She was then engaged to a very strapping, very well-to-do 15-year-old poke.
Something super gross.
What?
Back then, they used to take young girls and take naked photos of them and send them as Christmas cards to their families.
Their own family?
Whoever, just like friends and family. Those were the
Well, I
Christmas
guess
cards.
it's like looking for.
That's disgusting.
Yeah.
Sorry, God.
Oh, you're right. This 15-year-old, he was a Hungarian count named Ferenc. Not a
That's
Steve.
not great, but at least it's not like a 60-year-old.
Yeah, 15 and 11.
It's not great, but it could be worse.
If they were older, it wouldn't be a problem at all. Who are you? I'm Natasha, and this is Liz. Elderly?
Whoa. No. Oh, yeah, cat balls going on. They're laughing. Cool.
He goes mad. Oh, we're pissing it off. Maybe it's elderly. Is this Gertrude? I don't know. Oops. But so according to the customs of the times, she moved in with her future hubby and learned how to manage multiple estates that were under and owned by her mother-in-law. Which
At
I thought
11
was
years
impressive
old.
that they were giving responsibility to a woman. In this case, a girl. But not only did she learn that from the mother-in-law, rumor has it that her husband taught her a thorough and brutal art of torture. That was like their date night. Let's go torture
These are
some
like
people.
babies. They're 11 and 15.
Struggle. Well, it doesn't say when. It doesn't say right away. So maybe she was there for a little bit and she was a little older when they started teaching. Maybe, I don't know.
Okay.
But she did end up marrying Ferenc or whatever. Ferenc. I found another source here that looks like they said they married on May 8th of 1574 when she was 14. They said the wedding was enormous and obviously very exquisite, very flashy.
Mhm.
You know, there's royalty here. There were 4,500 guests at the party, and it
Damn.
raged on for 3 days. Oh my gosh. She goes, I can't see you. You don't have your camera on.
Stop. I'm trying to
It's
look
like,
at me.
"Excuse me, miss." And although her husband was off battling the Ottoman Turks like all the time, they still managed to have 5 children over a 10-year. Oh my God, 5 children over a 10-year period.
At least she didn't marry her cousin, so she has that going for her.
That is true. Now, her husband was so brutal during battle that he instilled terror in the enemies and he left his allies. His allies were even shocked, like, holy crap, this guy's crazy. He quickly became known as Black Knight of Hungary, which is just
Ooh,
cool.
that's a
Badass.
badass name.
Right? That is dope. I am loving that. Oh, that liked it too. Now, another story was that Elizabeth had a torrid love affair with a peasant boy that got her pregnant. It solid. Oh, this is great. Now, welcome to the party. But the legend kind of states that she secretly gave birth and sent the baby off so nobody would know. However, her husband found out about the affair and had the peasant castrated and tossed into a pack of wild dogs.
Oh,
And
that's a terrible way to go. And he probably had no consent or he didn't have a say if she wanted him. I'm sure she just got what she wanted.
Doesn't say how old he was. Maybe he was like, yeah, I'm sleeping with this famous lady. Boys are boys. But it does say that, so for a wedding gift, the couple received Castle Countess? Anyway, so the husband's family gave him a castle.
Man.
And it sounds absolutely amazing. It was described as the most bleak and dark Gothic castles in the country. This particular castle was snuggled up in the Carpathians, which is now Slovakia. Surrounding the castle was a village and lots of farmland. So you have this big. Turn what on?
Everything about that place sounds so spooky, and I want to go there so bad.
Right? It's Gothic, it's gloomy, it's dark, it's surrounded. It's like when you oh my gosh, what was that? Disenchantment or whatever with the little like demon guy. Oh my god.
Oh, yes, I know exactly.
And so you have this big, beautiful, this big castle, and then all around the castle is just village, and then out is farmland. I think that's a pretty cool setup. But there was a long war, and it totally screwed the Hungarian economy. Silly things. Elizabeth and her family never really felt the hardships, right? So a lot of people struggled and all of that stuff. They actually gave the government a loan to run the country.
Okay. You got money if you're loaning money to the government.
She was actually not too bad. She gave a lot of like housing and food to people that needed it.
Okay, so didn't like Hitler. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're not.
She's not crazy yet. However, the couple again didn't see each other a lot. They spent a little bit of time, but they had a mutual activity that they liked to do. And who wouldn't want to pass up some bonding time over gruesome torture of young female servants?
Oh my gosh. How bizarre that people can find each other, like you said, that have like-minded sicknesses.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like these warped minds.
Like the toy box killers.
Yeah, like how? What are the odds that you can find each other?
I can't figure it out. I haven't figured that one out. But during these sessions, Elizabeth and her husband would experiment with methods of torture, and they would just come up with, they'd like one up each other, right? Which one's the most gruesome? And then they'd be like, oh yeah, what about this? They would just keep making it worse and worse.
Oh
So
my gosh.
her husband passed on one method to Elizabeth, and it was to roll up pieces of paper soaked in oil, place them between the toes of the victim, and lighting them on fire to watch them burn, assuredly, and hear the tormented shrieks echoing through the castle. Revolting.
Fuck. Yeah, exactly. That is revolting.
So another story said that she was given a clawed glove, like Freddy Krueger style, so she could disfigure the faces of the girls that she felt were insubordinate.
Oh my gosh, these poor girls.
Yeah. Like, hail the OG Freddy Krueger.
Ugh.
And her husband was actually not the only influence in her life that was so negative. There was a woman that was far from average in 1601, and the word on the street was that this Anna Darvolya was actually a witch. So a witch comes into town, blowing in, and hooks up with this Elizabeth lady who's nutso. Desk, yes, this is my desk. Oh, my light went off too. But a lot of credit was given to Anna for the escalated hostility, theorizing that she was the one who taught Elizabeth to kill and not just torture. Like, she was torturing, but she wouldn't actually kill anybody until this lady showed up.
So they had no Craigslist back then. They had no dark web, but yet somehow they added more people to this mix.
Yep, lady just rolled up into town. She probably heard of the violence and everything. I'm sure the word got around. And she probably saw an opportunity and took it. While Anna was there, it was reported that a lot of young women and girls mysteriously disappeared. But unfortunately, servants at that time were a dime a dozen, so they would vanish and no one would bat an eye. Like nothing. Even when suspicions arose, the power and the money that she had access to squashed any accusations, along with the accusers. But again, rumors kept going, they kept flooding. Even a priest had a word with her after being summoned to the castle so many times for servants passing from supposed quote unquote cholera.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. She would have probably gotten away with a lot more, but she started killing off young women that had royal blood.
She started killing off women that had royal blood.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's crazy. So,
They weren't servants, though, right?
no. She was obviously powerful and all of that. She began bringing noble women under the rouge of getting an education in royal etiquette to the castle.
Oh,
It'd
that's how
be,
she got him
"Bring
there.
your- Give it to me. Yeah. Bring your daughters here. I will teach them how to be royal." It's like princess school, only horribly wrong.
I'm just surprised at these women because she must have some sort of reputation. These women were like, sure, go ahead.
But yeah, I think back then, if you weren't perfect, you were screwed. It's kind of like Milan. In Milan, it's like, you got to be this, you got to be that, you got to do this, you got to do that.
Yeah.
And if you don't know how to do it properly, then your ass ain't getting married. So they didn't probably have a lot of choice. However, her husband got sick in 1601 with an unknown illness that led to lower body paralysis.
Oh, she didn't want to hit that anymore.
So I'm thinking, so once her husband passed away in 1604, any illusion of control that she had was gone. She became more sadistic while trying to cope with the stress of managing an empire as a 44-year-old widow, which was really not an easy task. And then on top of that, these poor servant girls would be given the following punishment. Sometimes just for missing a stitch in a garment.
Oh my
So
gosh.
get ready because this part's going to be gruesome. Skip ahead if you think you can't handle it. Find me, okay? So most occurrences started with a stare down followed by a massive beat down. That's how it started. Many victims were said to be covered in honey and abandoned outside to be swarmed and devoured by bugs. Yeah. And when the weather would dip to freezing and hostile conditions, Elizabeth would have some of the young women stripped down, forced to be dunked into icy baths, and then left outside, and they died of hypothermia.
Oh my gosh. What a terrible way to go.
Yeah. It was also rumored that she would torture some of the girls using the methods of shoving needles into their fingers. I'm assuming like under their fingernails at the tips. A lot of time being repeatedly poked on naked bodies was reserved for women who made mistakes with the sewing assignments or the laundry.
So I have a question. It seems like a lot of these tortures she's doing to them either stripped down or naked. Was it sexual gratification or just pure the sadistic of it?
I think both.
Oh,
I would say both because of the fact that she would strip them naked and that kind of stuff. That power, that dominant kind of frenzy, that control probably turned her on. But yeah, so these needles, like when she would shove the needles into their fingers, she would tell them, and it says, quote, "If it hurts the whore, she can pull it out." Yeah.
I don't know what to say.
Yeah. The victims would think that it was okay to pull them out after she said this. But as they reached to remove them, Elizabeth would whip out a knife and cut the finger off.
What the fuck?
Yeah. They were also known to suffer cuts on their lips and noses and be whipped with stinging nettles.
What is that?
And a stinging nettle is a plant that is known to trigger a horrible allergic reaction.
Oh my gosh.
It's not good. Then there was a torture chamber, and it had tons of horrible devices at the disposal of the sadist. It had a set of pincers that were used to tear off the flesh.
Ugh.
They even made their insides outsides.
Oh my gosh.
Rumors of forced cannibalism among the young women spread like wildfire as well. So she would force them to eat the other one.
Oh,
Elizabeth would also sink her teeth into the victims' tatas and their shoulders. And it was even reported that she had bitten off a chunk of a woman's face.
ugh.
It's chilling. Yes, it is very chilling. It's just, and if that wasn't bad enough, she would burn the flesh like all over, including their nethers. Like, once she had her fill of the torture, instead of putting the poor things out of their misery, they'd be tossed over the castle wall to be shredded to pieces by wolves.
Oh my gosh.
What is with these people and canines, for starters? Because we've had packs of dogs, we've had wolves. Yeah. And even the floors of the torture chamber would just be drenched in blood. Then the servants then had to clean it up, knowing full well that it was from their friend's suffering.
So if she was doing this, didn't she want to collect the blood to bathe in it? Why was she just letting it spill everywhere? Or this was just playtime to her?
I think I think depending on the torture, it wouldn't be a lot. Sometimes it wouldn't be enough to fill a bathtub. I'm thinking, I don't know for sure, but I feel like if you're going to fill a bathtub, you're going to do the whole carotid upside down like a pig thing.
Mm.
But I don't know for sure. But they say that her body count was at least 600.
Oh my gosh. See, that's what you said about exaggeration. That seems so hard to believe.
You got to think, is what, 40, 50 years?
Yeah.
And they said that a law, like basically, as she's going down this little sadistic ride, she got multiple partners of crime where she went. So you have Anna the witch, Ilona Joe, the children's nurse, Dorca, a friend of the nurse, Kathleen, who was the washerwoman, and Fisco, a disfigured teenager. And even though the word spread and everybody knew Elizabeth was like you couldn't hungry, you couldn't do anything. But back in the day, peasants were not allowed to press charges against the nobles. It wasn't allowed.
Isn't that crazy?
It is bananas. So not only that, but the villagers were so poor and the countess was filthy rich. Many of the daughters were sold off so the family members that were there could survive. So they would sell the daughter to this woman and then she would torture them. I don't know if they knew that was happening. Probably did. I don't see why they wouldn't.
Didn't she have a whole bunch of kids and name them all
Yeah,
her
5.
name? But weren't they all like Elizabeth Bathory?
No idea. I didn't look at their names. Sorry.
I feel like she was like such a narcissist. I gotta look that up. That she named all of her kids her name.
Oh, that would be kind of weird. Beautiful. Thank you. Let's see here. But Elizabeth in 1609, her friend, that Anna, the witch, died of a stroke. And around that time, she started to get some debt. All 5 children were grown and out of the house. She spiraled into this just loneliness and dangerous desperation. So with the death of Anna, she grew close to an Urzi, Mezhorova, I think,
Right.
who convinced her that the slaughter of the noble girls would bring her the riches that she needed, like a sacrifice, because they're rich. She sacrifices them, and voila. Which is when the parents of the noble victims questioned her, she simply stated that one of the girls went crazy, murdered all the other girls, and then committed suicide. Problem solved.
What the fuck?
But yeah, finally, the noble families took their concerns to the chain, to the king of Hungary, Matthias II. The king left the investigation in none other than one of Elizabeth's husband's best friend's hands.
Right.
The guy
'Cause he'll get
investigating
to
her
the
was her
bottom of it.
husband's best friend. Questioned, the witnesses testified to the torturing method and described them in detail. However, these witnesses were tortured themselves by the police, so odds are their testimony was probably coerced.
Oh my
And
gosh.
nobody actually witnessed the torture that was questioned.
Yeah, because she killed them all that witnessed
Mhm.
it.
Exactly. Eventually, they were convinced that she was guilty and reached out to Elizabeth's family to get some advice. However, due to the relationship with the accused, there was a secret agreement that stated that Elizabeth would never actually go to jail. Oddly enough, not a single family member claimed that she was innocent. They all said she was guilty. But
Wow.
in order to get more evidence to secure the arrest, this Thurzo, which is the friend, and the king got invited to dinner. Upon eating dessert, the man felt ill and believed that they had been poisoned, and they quickly left. They go in there and she's like, investigate me, asshole. And New Year's Eve of 1610, shit really hit the fan. So Thurzo showed up to the castle with a slew of armed guards. As they approached the castle door, she burst out of the castle, casting a spell with a murderous incantation. Once the men made it to the castle, they were mutilated. There was a mutilated corpse of a young woman lying in the doorway.
Oh my gosh.
Once in the door, they noticed two more bodies that were strewn through the entryway. It was then that they heard the blood-curdling screams down the hall that led them to the torture room. Down the hall, okay, a torture room where Team Torture appeared to be at the bottom of the ninth inning. Sorry, my morbid. I wrote this a month ago. Elizabeth immediately began spewing blame onto the servants, but with no success, and was thrown into her own dungeon. And due to the horror of the crimes, 306 people testified against the Countess. Some even incriminating themselves in the process. Like, they didn't give a shit. They were just like, here's what's happening. It needs to stop. Go ahead. I did it. Whatever. Ilona, Joe, Dorca, and Fisco were given life sentences. Fisco was young and thus spared the pre-murder torture before being beheaded and burned.
Oh.
The other two had their digits ripped out with iron tongs before murdered and tossed onto a bonfire.
Everyone knew how it was going to end with Dorca.
Kathleen was only given life in prison because she was constantly in trouble for taking pity on the victims and sneaking them food. She got a little less because she did.
She snuck food. Okay.
She was giving them food, she felt bad for them, so they gave her a little whatever. But as per the secret agreement, the Countess was given life imprisonment instead of death, only allowed to be visited by the priest and the man who arrested her, which we all know she's porking the husband friend. We all know that.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
And she went the rest of her life never acknowledging the wrongfulness of what she did. Ever. Even when Thurzo, who had negotiated her life to be spared, was met with rage upon visiting and said this to Elizabeth. It says, quote, "You, Elizabeth, are a wild animal. You are in the last months of your life. You do not deserve to breathe the air on this earth or see the light of the Lord. You shall disappear from this world and shall never reappear in it again. As the shadows envelop you, may you find time to repent your bestial life." End quote.
Yes.
Badass. Screw you. And on August 21st.
That was how they said, fuck you back then.
Yeah, that's basically a big screw you. August 20th. It's a hard time. On August 21st, 1614, the Countess fell under the weather, lied down, and never woke up again. She was buried in the church cemetery at the castle, but due to the outrage from the public allowing such a monster on sacred ground, she was moved to a family crypt. And oddly enough, when that crypt was opened in 1995, the Blood Countess's body was not inside.
Ooh.
So let's take a minute here because
Vampire, and she went to go live in Transylvania.
so there's a lot of mystery and stuff, but we're just going to do a little skepticism here. So many kind of believe that she killed at most 80 people. Still bad, but not 650. And the blood bathing murder didn't start until well after she actually died, which is problematic because it says that trisodium citrate that is used to stop blood clotting was not used until 300 years after her death.
Again, vampire. Yep, go ahead.
This also would have made it virtually impossible to fill an entire bathtub with blood. Oh my gosh, it just said Liz.
Stop.
Like literally, it's like exactly the
Stop.
that's on your screen. Are you wanting to talk to Liz? He was just pointing you out. That was so weird. Okay. But yeah, you wouldn't be able to fill a bathtub without it clotting. So it doesn't really make a lot of sense. They also say there's no way someone as smart as Elizabeth would kill so many women because it would have been a loss of revenue to the castle, but I don't really know if I'm on board with that one.
Yeah, I don't really.
And some even believe that she was completely innocent and was simply a victim of conspiracy orchestrated by the royal competitors back in the day. I don't think that's true. I think they would have come in and just slaughtered. I don't think they would have started all that.
That might have been part of the exaggeration, though. Like, I think that could have fed into the story being more sensationalized than what it actually was.
Yeah. But that's what I have on Elizabeth Bathory, aka the Blood Countess. So that is jacked up, miss. So what do you think about Elizabeth Bathory?
I don't know. I'm like you. Like, I don't know if I believe it all happened. If it did, she is a narcissistic psychopath that died in way too painless of a way. You know what I mean? She should have suffered and been eaten by wolves or something like that.
I feel like with as crazy of stories and such that are going out about her, it's surprising to me that there is no theory about after she died. I didn't see anything about hauntings.
Didn't she? Is she the one that lived? I'm mixing up posts. Ignore me.
Oh, you're fine.
She wasn't in New Orleans ever, right?
No, she was all like Hungary.
Who was in New Orleans?
Poland, and I think I know who you're talking about, though.
Oh, I'm thinking of LaLaurie Mansion. Ignore me. That's who I was talking about. That was an American Horror Story. So I'm way off. I'm like meshing stories in my head. Ignore me.
Oh, you're fine. But it's just, I feel like it had to have been embellished. Not to mention, if your castle is in the center of a bunch of village, how exactly are you throwing it over and getting the dogs or the wolves? So there's that. And I oddly didn't find a whole lot of information on her bathing in blood, except just to say that she did it. Didn't say how she didn't say what. The why was, I think, if she bathed in the blood, the theory was she would stay young, she would stay healthy because they were young and they were healthy and all of that. I'm surprised she didn't drink it.
You may not have an answer to this, but you didn't look into her children or anything with that, right?
No.
Okay. I just wonder if she still has living relatives today.
Oh, I'm sure she probably does.
That would be an interesting if they wrote a book or something, if they did some research.
And you got to think too, people being sociopaths and psychopaths, it's not, everybody seems to think that it is a recent occurrence. Like it did just happen. But there's been people like this throughout history for millennia. It's just back then, they didn't have an understanding of why or what or whatever. It's, oh, this person's a berserker, or oh, this person's this, oh, this person's that. They're a great warrior, but they're just freaking nuts, right?
Mhm. They were a witch.
Yeah. So it's just very difficult for me to. But then again, think about it. She might have just been a Jeffrey Dahmer in a different time. We definitely need to go see this castle, though. That'd be sweet.
I know. Is it? I wonder if it's still standing. Probably is. Hopefully.
I think I saw a picture, but I don't know how old the picture was. Is there anything that you want to add?
No, that was really good. I just wish we knew more about what was actually, but that's what sucks when things are so old. The old stories are fun because you can talk about them easier, even though they were people and it is sad. You're a little bit more distanced from it.
Yeah.
But on the other
Especially
hand,
because of the time.
yeah, but we don't get to know the actual facts of anything either on the other hand.
True.
It's too far back, we'll never know.
This is true. But I did have there was a lot of details about what they did or what she
Mhm.
did. Which I probably, in all honesty, if I really did more digging, I probably could have got more about her family and stuff. I just, to be fair, just didn't care. You, hello. You're welcome. It goes, you. And I go, yeah, you're welcome. It's like, okay. I guess we'll wrap this up because I got 10 minutes, but we know the drill. Liz, ouch, was that a ghost? Check out the description. Her links will be there. Make sure that you listen and you like and you share and you do all of the good stuff and only do 5-star reviews because that's all we accept here. We don't do that 1-star bullshit. So I guess that's it. And until next time, everybody, see ya.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Cryptids, Creeps, and Conspiracy. If you wouldn't mind, please take a moment and give the show a 5-star review wherever you're listening. I know it might not seem like much, but it greatly helps the show and allows people to find us more easily. Also, head on over to www.patreon.com/cryptids, creeps, and conspiracy and subscribe to any of the tiers. Members of the Big Show tier get bonus materials, personalized shoutouts on the pod, ad-free episodes, access to the private Discord server, quarterly appreciation gifts, and a chance to be on the show. Not to mention video versions of the episode. Before you go, don't forget to click the link in the description and grab yourself or someone you know some self-designed merch by me, or make a donation to help keep the show going and fund future events and investigations. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, X, YouTube, Threads, and TikTok. If you have any questions, topic recommendations, or personal encounters, please send them to cryptidscreepsandconspiracy@gmail.com or submit them through the contact form at www.cryptidscreepsandconspiracy.com. I would love to hear from you and share your experiences on a listener episode. Just make sure that you specify that I have permission to add your encounter to the show and let me know whether or not you would like your real name read or an alias to maintain confidentiality. Thank you guys all again so much for your support. Until next time, my friends. See ya.